Welcome to my vegan Mexican kitchen. This is one of the first episodes, in fact it is the first episode that we're gonna do that really focuses on essential Mexican techniques to bring authentic Mexican flavors to your vegan kitchen and your vegan table. What we're gonna focus on today is how to toast and how to rehydrate chilies so you can make a really beautiful, wonderful chili sauce. And once we do that, we're gonna make this really nice Veracruz style pasta. I love the cuisine of Veracruz because Veracruz really showcases the Spanish influence that you see in a lot of Mexican cuisine. The reason for that is Veracruz is an important port state, and that means, well, of course, when the Spanish came over and took over much of Mexico, that got a lot of the Spanish influence. And you can see that because you see the Mexican influence with the chilies, but then you see a Spanish influence from using sweet ingredients in those sauces. There's a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of mint to brighten everything. It's a really, really beautiful dish. And the great thing is, it's simple to make. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by showing you how to toast some chilies. Now to do that, you wanna get a pan, you wanna get it to about a medium heat. Fortunately, I have a gas burner here and a nice pan, so it only takes me a few seconds to get it that hot. But what you do is, you take the chilies and you're gonna place them right on the pan. You're gonna take a heat-proof spatula, silicone spatula, metal, wood, anything like that, and you're gonna press on the chilies. For a large chili like this, it only takes about 15 to 20 seconds to toast. Now, if you have a tiny chili, like a little chili de árbol, then it's only gonna take about 5 seconds to toast. It goes really, really quickly. These chilies right here are guajillo chilies. This is a tiny version, this is a large version, but it's really the same chili. These are kind of the workhorse chilies of the Mexican kitchen. And they have, well, if you've had red chilies before, you know what that flavor profile is like. It's a little bit spicy, and then it's just got that kind of a little bit of sweetness to it because red chilies are ripe, and so the sweetness in the chili has developed. The guajillo chilies, even though they're not smoked, they still have a little bit of a hint of smoky flavor to them. Make wonderful, wonderful salsas and sauces. These dried wrinkled black chilies, these are Ancho chilies. These are the dried form of a poblano. You may have heard of a poblano before or seen it if you've had chiles rellenos, because that is the chili that's used when you're stuffing those chilies to make chiles rellenos. Well, this is just the dried version of it. And Ancho in Spanish means wide because it's got the nice wide chili. It's not a narrow chili like this. So that's the whole reason for it. And this is cool because, again, it has that kind of reddish chili flavor that it has, but unlike this guajillo here, this one has more caramel notes. And so we're using these two chilies to make a complex sauce. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and toast my guajillos first. So I just put them in the pan and I press down. It doesn't take too long. Really, the key to this is when you can smell that chili coming off the pan, it's done. You can take the chili off. I'm just gonna flip these over. Press down again. All this is doing is putting more surface area of the chili onto that hot pan. It just makes them toast a lot faster. Oh man, that smells so, so good. You can see how quickly that goes. Here I'm gonna do the same thing with our anchos. You can even hear the chili skin blistering a little bit in there. Press down on those some more, and then right out of the pan. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take some scissors and snip those chilies. You can see there's that hard stem in there. That's all we're doing is we're just taking that stem off the chilies. And that's all there is to toasting them. Now, if you want a deeper, richer, but not quite as healthy taste to it, you can also put a little layer of oil in the pan and fry the chilies. Again, it only takes maybe 20 to 30 seconds to properly fry up the chilies. You are gonna get a richer sauce, but you're also gonna get more fat calories that way, so just keep that in mind. Once I've got these nice chilies toasted, I just take these and I've got a pot of simmering water over here. And then I'll take the tops of these and just kind of break off the tops, throw them in the water. Sometimes I'll take the tops of these and crumble them up and make my own ancho or guajillo chili flakes. They're really outstanding. While these rehydrate, it's going to take about 10 minutes or so. I'm going to get our pasta cooked up. Then we're going to start on that Veracruz dish that I'm so looking forward to. See you in a few minutes. We're back. It's been about 10 minutes, and you can see here that I've got these nice, soft, rehydrated chilies. That's going to form the basis of our sauce. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take these, I'm going to put them in a blender. And like I said, these chilies are a little bit mild, so I like spicy food. I'm going to kick mine up just a little bit by taking a nice big spoonful of chipotles and adobo and adding that to the sauce. Now, what we're also going to do to make it a sauce instead of just this paste that these chilies are going to turn into is take some water. This is the same water that I rehydrated the chilies in because it has all that chili flavor to it. And I'm going to add in about 1.5 cups of that water for those 4 chilies. And then we're just going to puree this. That's a lot of heat that got released in those chilies. This is going to be amazing, amazing after I stop gagging. That's a lot of capsaicin. In fact, this is a great time to talk about capsaicin. Capsaicin is the compound in chilies that has that heat element. And what capsaicin does is it binds to a little protein sheath around your nerve endings, and it causes a release of neurochemicals that tell you that it's hot and painful. Okay, now it seems a little crazy to eat food like that, but capsaicin also does some amazing things. Capsaicin targets lung cancer, it targets prostate cancer, and it targets a few other malignancies that can arise in the body. So it's a great way to stay healthy. As you eat hot foods, as you eat that capsaicin, what it does is it keeps triggering that chemical, and then the chemical gets triggered less and less and less. And that's why if you eat spicier foods, you become, in a way, you become immune to it. And of course, you get all the health benefits of it too. That's why I eat crazy spicy food now. Well, actually, I just eat it because I love it, but I happen to get a bunch of health benefits from it. So we're gonna start the sauce. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these king trumpet mushrooms, they're also called king oyster mushrooms, and I'm gonna slice these up into medallions. The reason I use this is, like I said, Veracruz is a port state, and that means seafood. We don't eat seafood because we're vegan, but instead of using scallops, you can use these incredible trumpet mushrooms. Once I slice these off, I'm going to sear these off in my pan with a little bit of mojo de ajo. That's another essential ingredient, which I'll talk about in a different episode a little bit more. In fact, I'll show you how to make it in that episode. But in this one, I'm going to show you a cheat for it too. So here I've got the trumpet mushrooms nice and sliced up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a nice big spoonful of our mojo de ajo, put this in our pan. It's going to go over medium-high heat, and then these are going to sear until they're brown. Now, mojo de ajo is an olive oil with roasted garlic and fresh citrus. Traditionally, it has sour orange juice in it, but sour oranges are not always easy to find. So you can use lime juice, or you can just use orange juice if you want something sweeter. And the cheat for this, for every tablespoon of olive oil you're going to use, you're going to do 2 cloves of minced garlic and a squeeze of a lime wedge. And that'll get you something that's very similar to mojo de ajo. All right, I might do 2 big spoonfuls because it's really good stuff. So then I just reach in, kind of stir everything around, and I'm going to sear these until they brown. It's going to take me probably about 5 minutes over a medium-high heat to get these properly seared, at which point we're gonna add in our sauce. We're gonna add in black pepper, a little bit of salt, and I was talking about that Spanish influence. Well, here we have some dried apricots. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go through and slice these up. It's gonna create a nice, hot, sweet, and slightly acidic profile because we're gonna use some white balsamic vinegar to round that out. Again, showcasing that really nice Spanish influence in the state of Veracruz. So I'll be back in just a couple minutes after these finish off, and then we're gonna finish this up and have an amazing meal. It's been about 5 minutes. Those king trumpet mushrooms have gotten really nice and browned along the edges. They look amazing. I can't wait to eat this. The trick now is very important. You want to turn the heat down to about a medium-low heat. If it's higher than that, when you add this spicy sauce to the pan, it's going to shoot a bunch of capsaicin up into the air, and well, that's the air that you're going to breathe and probably choke on a little bit. So turn the heat down so that you don't get that burst of capsaicin in your face. Add that wonderful spicy triple chili sauce, some black pepper, I'm going to do about a teaspoon of ground black pepper in here. I'm going to do about 3 tablespoons of this white balsamic vinegar. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of salt, and keep in mind this is going to make enough food for about 4 people. Then I'm going to put in what's about 1/3 of a cup, or what I like to say, a Jason-sized handful of these sliced dried apricots. And then we just let that sauce cook down. It's going to take about 8 minutes for that sauce to kind of thicken up around the mushrooms. Then we're going to take some pasta, put it in our bowl, pour the sauce over it. We're going to finish that off with 2 things. A little bit of fresh mint, because mint is actually heavily used in the Mexican kitchen. We think of cilantro and oregano as being the primary herbs. Mint is just as important as those 2 ingredients. And then to give it some crunch, we're going to take some of these toasted, salted pepitas and garnish our pasta with that. So again, we'll be back in about 7 or 8 minutes to finish this off, and I'm going to eat. Bowl of pasta for myself, and now I'm just going to turn the sauce off. And there's still some liquid in this, so it hasn't completely condensed around those mushrooms because this is a sauce, not a chili paste. And I just spoon this over my pasta. Now, like I said, this makes enough for 4 people, but I'm a pretty big guy. It makes enough for 2 Jasons. I'm going to take some pepitas to put on that. I'm going to take just a little bit of fresh mint. That is an incredibly delicious Veracruz dish. You can see it's got the beautiful red from the chilies. It's got that nice whole wheat pasta on the bottom. It's got the toasted pepitas, and then it has that brilliant splash of green from the mint. And I know this is going to be spicy. Wow, that is packed with flavor. I mean, you've got the chilies 3 ways, and so you've got this complex chili sauce, but you cannot mistake the undertone of that citrusy, garlicky mojo de ajo on those very hearty king trumpet mushrooms. And then there's this really beautiful overtone with the fresh mint, and then bam, you get some salted pepitas for a little bit of crunch. I said this was 2 Jason-sized portions. It might end up being 1 Jason-sized portion for this meal. Thanks for joining me. Next time, we'll be doing some more essential Mexican ingredients for your Mexican vegan kitchen.